Welcome to the Ranger's Respite. I'm Phil, and today we're looking at a whiskey from a distillery in bout 6 of round 2 of the Virginia Whiskey Tournament. And that is the Ragged Branch Wheated Virginia Straight Bourbon Whiskey. This is the last of a little 50 milliliter bottle that was amongst a handful that were given to me by my older sibling for my birthday. And I saved some for review. And glad I did. This is a very lovely color. But before I get too deep into that, if you like what I do, if you like the Virginia Whiskey Tournament, and you would like to support this show or the Single Malt Frontier, which is a show that I co-host with my friend Doug from the Whiskey Lodge, I have an Etsy shop where I sell bowls and pens that I've made myself, and they are basically what I'm doing to keep doing this show. So if you like what I'm doing and you would like to support me, the show, the Virginia Whiskey Tournament, Single Malt Frontier, there's a link in the description down below. That said, let's get into this. This is bottled at 45% alcohol by volume. As I said, this little bottle was a gift from a sibling, so I don't know how much the little 50 milliliter costs. And I forgot to look it up, so I can't tell you what a 750 costs. But that will be in the description down below with the links to vote for Ragged Branch or Virginia Distillery Company or Hilltop or Blue Shepherd. Those links will be in the description down below. And a link to the Ragged Branch website. It's a little bit harsh on the nose. It's got those nice, rich, chocolatey, coffee-ish notes that you see from a wheat heavy mash bill. It's also got that bright green notes that pop, the corn sweetness, a little bit of like green vegetal-y notes, and some oak tannin spice, that cinnamon and like oak sawdust. On the palate, what really carries through are those nice, rich, chocolatey notes over an undercurrent of like shiny green sweetness and some like tanniny bitter notes. Not as much vanilla as I expected, given how much vanilla I get out of the standard Ragged Branch signature bourbon. It is not as aggressive in the mouth as it is on the nose in terms of alcohol. On the finish, it is a little bit barrel tannin heavy, a bit bitter and almost acidic tasting. You feel in the corners of your mouth that like sort of almost sweet and sour acidic taste. Yeah, there's less complexity on the finish. It is a very sort of tannin heavy, low spice, not a lot of grain flavor popping in the or not in the palate, in the finish. And so it's not terribly long lasting. It's sort of more bitter, tannic, and acid notes than the palate or the nose. Honestly, I think I prefer the standard signature bourbon from Ragged Branch, but I'm glad that I've tried this. Now I need only find a bottle of their rye, I guess. So, if you are familiar with my show, you know that I ask and answer 3 questions. The first being, do I like it? And it doesn't do much to excite me. I'm more of a rye drinker, and after rye, I prefer single malt, and bourbon is just sort of down near the bottom. And frankly, it's kind of I would put it roughly on par with, like, say, Jim Beam Black or one of the nicer Evan Williams releases, but it's not anything that I personally will go out of my way to replace now that I've finished up this little 50 milliliter airplane bottle of the wheated bourbon. Next question is, do I think it's a good value? I can't speak to that. I think that it's probably a pretty good value. Ragged Branch whiskeys tend to be fairly affordable for a craft distillery. They're also 100% grain to glass. Like, they grow grain, they take the grain that they grow and from surrounding farms, mash it, and distill it on site. They do a lot of interesting stuff. Sorry, I got a little notification at the bottom of my screen there. So it's probably pretty affordable. I'm guessing between $39.99 and $44.99 for the wheated bourbon. Do I recommend it? Yeah, actually. Fun fact, I would take this over the one Weller that I've tried, which was Antique 107. That was just sort of, I found to be aggressive and not as deep on the oak notes. So, or not as deep on the wheat notes. Sorry. Lots of oak, not a lot of the like rich chocolatiness of wheat, or that I've come to expect from wheat whiskey given my experience with it. So yeah, why not? If you're looking for a wheated bourbon, look no further. Ragged Branch has your back. Yeah. Do I like it? Yeah, it's all right. Do I think it's a good value? Can't speak to that. Do I recommend it? Yeah, I do. Not just because, I say, yeah, you should try every craft distillery near you, but also because this is genuinely a pretty good serviceable bourbon. It's just, I'm not much of a bourbon drinker, so you have to take my declarations there with a slight grain of salt. Outside of really, really impressive drams, bourbon typically doesn't do much for me. Sorry. My lunch is trying to escape. Not really. It's just a little bit of gaseous buildup. Eat better lunches than I do, kids. It's important. Not that there are any kids watching. If you're watching this and you're not an adult, go find something else to watch. This isn't for you. I do really like the nose, though. It's growing on me. Going back to the nose, there's a weird, like, almost piney, like spruce. It smells like spruce. Like, if you've ever been working on a really old house and you've pulled out a 2x out of the wall and cut it up and it smells like this, it's because it's spruce. Yeah, interesting. Anyway, all that out of the way, if you like what I do, you want to support it, there's a link to my Etsy shop in the description down below where I sell bowls, pens. Any purchase there supports the channel, makes it so that I can continue to make this content. If you like these reviews, I have a whole backlog of them on my YouTube channel. If you are more interested in single malt, I co-host a Single Malt Frontier. It's a podcast about American single malt whiskey, one of the newest and fastest growing categories of American whiskey. So, all that said, I've dotted all my I's, crossed all my T's, and wasted enough of your time. So, it's been good to see you. Until next time, stay happy, stay geeks, sláinte.